So my weekend of modding has concluded, and I'm happy with the results on both of my modifications. The Boomba short shift, as you can see, sits nice and low now in my car. Took it out, through its paces, and then this morning drove into my lovely commuter lot that you guys have seen before, waiting for the bus. Couple things with this Boomba short shift. At least with this Ashiko knob, and this is actually a taller knob, so if you even have a shorter knob, you may have even more of a problem or issue, or you may notice it. But going from first gear to second gear when your parking handbrake is down, you possibly can hit this. It comes very close, as you can see. My thumb. So if you're side shifting like this, your thumb is going to get wedged in between there. So I kind of had to adjust my shifting now, going from first to second and just palming it, because it sits so low. And then, like I said, this is a taller knob, so if you even have a shorter knob, you may notice that even more. That's my only gripe with this, and I guess, I don't know if it's the shifter's fault or the handbrake positioning, but that is the one caveat with this. Other than that, my throws are nice and short and crisp, and I can even keep my arm here on the armrest and shift the car. I will say, for both of the modifications that I did this weekend, the short shift and the RCE springs, which I'll get to in just a second, both of them kind of difficult. If you're going to do them, make sure you have a good degree of technical ability and a lot of patience and time on your hands, and most of all, the right tools, because they're a pain. They were a pain to do. As far as the RCE springs, once I got them in, you can see the reduced ride height on the car. It's not drastic, and it's not supposed to be, and I have the stock 17-inch rims, so my wheel gap will decrease when I get some larger rims. But you can see through the wheel there, the yellow and black, the shocks there on the back, which are a lot easier to do than the front. I learned a lot of lessons starting up front and then going to the back, so it made the rear job a lot easier. And then the struts are up in there underneath the tire. Lessons learned from that. Like I said, I used 2 jacks actually, and I alternated the weight or the height of each jack. And I know this is probably making you dizzy right now, like what the hell is he doing? But trying to give you an idea of what I did, I had 2 jacks underneath the car, and I alternated the weight of each jack, or the height, which then transitioned the weight from the sway bar from one side to the other. And the weight of the car actually did all the work, allowing me to get the gosh, I can't remember the name of the stupid part, but there's a big knuckle behind the wheel here with two bolts, and that was a pain in the ass lining it up. I actually started with this tire first, and trial and error, I actually muscled it into place, and then when I got around to the second one, I had some lessons learned from it. Second one was a little bit easier than the first, and by the time I got to the rear, I think I knocked out both rear in about an hour and a half or so. Like I said, lessons learned. I took the car out last night, had my son in the car. I started driving through the neighborhood just really slowly, no music or anything, so I could hear if there were any squeaks or creaks, or if anything was wrong with the car, and it was rock frickin' solid. I was pitching the car left and right, to and fro, stepping on the brakes really hard, just seeing if the car would bottom out or anything like that, and nothing like that occurred. So, once I felt confident in the work that I did, I then took it out on the road, just whipping through some back roads last night, full breakneck speed. And yeah, man, these springs, I will say, you're not going to notice much of a difference with these springs in regular everyday driving, aside from the reduced ride height. And if you're hitting like a really hard bump or something like that, you're not going to notice much of a difference. These are comfortable springs for everyday driving. There is a little bit more degree of stiffness that you'll notice. Like I said, if you hit, if you're hitting a bump in the road or something, you'll notice that the car doesn't rebound as much. It kind of springs back really tightly, and then there's no after rebound. But these springs come alive when you start driving aggressively, which I was doing last night. I was trying to get this car to sway, and it still does sway, mind you. I have some sway bars coming, and that'll take care of that. But the sway is much reduced, and these springs come alive with more aggressive driving. So if you happen to put these springs in and you don't notice a difference, you know, from everyday driving, you're not going to notice a difference in everyday driving. These are sport-oriented springs. They drop the car a bit, and they're stiffer. These springs don't come alive until you start really getting into it. But all in all, very happy with my modifications. Everything went well, and more updates to come as more mods come. All right, guys, take it easy. Got to get to work.